Hi, and welcome to More Human, More Resources, the HR podcast for entrepreneurs. I'm Vicki Brown, your host and CEO of Vidamaneo Enterprises. As a serial entrepreneur, I understand that having the right expert help has been critical to my success. That's why I'm dedicated to telling you, in plain language, what's going on in the world of HR that might impact your business and what you need to do about it, with real actionable tips to help you master that list of must-dos and grow your leadership muscle. First things first, the information contained in this podcast is provided for general purposes only and is not to be considered legal advice. Your decision to adopt or not adopt any practice or procedure mentioned in this podcast is solely yours, and we bear no responsibility for the outcome. We urge you to always consult legal counsel and other appropriate licensed professionals. And with that, let's get into the show. You're listening to Season 3, Episode 25. You know, now that remote working seems like it's here to stay, it brings up a new issue for employers. How do you bring on a new person for a remote position and make sure they get fully incorporated in the company and culture as quickly as possible? It's a bit more complicated when you aren't seeing that person every day and they aren't having casual interactions with new colleagues and building relationships. It's a fact. The distance issue, well, it just makes things a bit more complicated. So first off, I think it's a really good idea to have personal contact with any new hire that you're bringing on. Because unfortunately, scammers targeting remote jobs is on the rise. They can use deepfakes and or stolen personal information to apply for a remote position. And then once they're hired, well, then you give them access to company information and systems, accounts, passwords, and other data. And they have a little scammer's party, raiding your company at will with verified credentials that you provided. So again, I say you have to kind of meet them in person. Now, I know it may be burdensome, but fly them in for the final interview. It's far better to be a bit inconvenienced in the beginning than to have to clean up the mess left behind by a scammer. All right, scammers aside, here are 10 tips you should consider to fully integrate a new remote employee. Be welcoming, as I'm sure you are naturally welcoming to all your new team members. But you have to expand your thinking when it comes to new virtual team members. Send them swag. A welcome package. You can include things like company-branded t-shirts and mugs, etc. I've even seen custom reaction cards for virtual meetings. They're a set of physical cards with different expressions or phrases like agree or great idea. The meeting attendees can use them to share their reactions in real time. And there are all sorts of other ideas, emoji paddles or photo booth props. Be creative. Next, be sure to provide a virtual introduction to the team. Introduce new hires to their colleagues. You could use icebreaker events like virtual games to add an element of fun. And be sure to encourage questions. And by the way, don't make it a corporate event. In fact, let someone else pull it together. It should be more fun than work. On a bit more practical side, make sure they have good equipment and great remote IT support. Nothing is worse than starting a new job and not having the tools you need to get the job done. Make sure your new hire has access to reliable, expert remote IT support. They can troubleshoot technical issues and provide guidance on software and hardware systems. Make it as easy on the team member as possible. Now, on to all things communication. It's going to be the backbone of creating a good relationship. So think communication, communication, communication in all its forms. Make sure you're communicating regularly. Keep in touch with them through regular virtual meetings. And yes, I know it's trendy to complain about meetings, but they can be a really valuable part of your communication strategy. That is, provided that they're done right. Go ahead and check out the Season 2 episode, Death by Meeting, to get some pointers. Now, virtual is best, but don't forget old-fashioned emails or phone calls as well. You just want to make sure that your new employee feels supported and stays informed during the onboarding process. And take advantage of the tech tools that are available. Use virtual whiteboards such as Mural or Trello to help everyone collaborate with their teams on projects and brainstorm ideas remotely. And don't forget the more personal interactions. Remember, your new hire won't have the opportunity to have casual run-ins with senior management. So those interactions will have to be more formalized. Schedule virtual one-on-one meetings with key stakeholders, folks like managers and executives. I found that connecting new hires with leadership, that gives them a much more fully rounded vision of the company and where it's going. And as a bonus, it lets the new hire know that they are important to the company, not just another body. Make sure you're clear on expectations and goals and that you provide sufficient training. You can create interactive training modules that incorporate quizzes, games, and other elements that'll help new hires learn and retain the information more effectively. And remember, training is not a one-and-done exercise. Continuous learning, that's the ticket. And as they're going through the onboarding and training process, don't forget to celebrate the milestones, like completing a training module or successfully completing a project. It'll help keep them engaged and motivated because, well, who doesn't like to have a celebration? All right, you've created this masterpiece of onboarding for your remote new hires, and I'm sure it's a thing of beauty. But the truth is, you can't determine that in a vacuum. Ask for feedback. That's right. Make sure you've baked in a feedback loop into the process. Ask them about their virtual onboarding experience because who knows, you might be able to use their input to refine and improve the process going forward. If you found this information helpful, please leave a review and tell a friend. Thanks for spending the time. Until next week, same time, same place.